Fintrux is the global P2P lending ecosystem powered by Ethereum and no-code development. We plan to use our technologies to make unsecured loans highly secure. Our initial target markets is Canada and Singapore. We chose these two locations very strategically. For Canada, it's because we have a traditional business in Canada for the last 20 years in the securitization sector. We currently serve over 90% of the market and manage several $billions of assets. Now, Singapore was the other obvious choice because Singapore is geographically close to China, Indonesia, and India, the three main places we think safe, affordable financing is needed.
Yeah, so the traditional business has been providing software services to the financial services industry, and we've been doing that for almost 20 years, and we've been providing the software that runs all the securitization. So securitization is the packaging of loans and leases into bulk leases and tranches. Exactly, and we're taking all that experience from all those leases, all those loans, from all those different financial institutions, and using that experience.
Yeah, so our software is currently serving banks and financial institutions in Canada, and we're very reputable, and people know us to provide very safe, secure, mission-critical software that's very reliable. The way we're operating is we're operating a true peer-to-peer network. What that means is that we don't handle any of the money. We simply facilitate the matching between the lender and the borrower, meaning that the money goes directly from the lender, who is an accredited investor or a financial institution, directly into the borrower's bank account. Now what that means is that we don't need a license to operate. All that matters is that we make the correct partnerships and find the right lenders in each individual region of the world, and as long as they have a license to lend, that's all that matters. Something to touch upon is that we're simply taking the experience accumulated from the traditional sector into our new projects, Fintrux. As we mentioned before, securitization is more bulk funding, meaning that they're tranches of $10 million or more. Now, not every small business you need to borrow $10 million or more for their cash flow issues. They need more between $3,000 to $300,000. So what we're doing is that we found a very unique way to apply those secret sauces of securitization that makes it more secure onto these unsecured loans of much smaller amounts, enabling us to lower the risk for lenders and therefore lowering the interest rates for borrowers.
And also with the blockchain, like you were asking, we take all the advantages of blockchain. It's immutable, it's transparent, it's fast, it's decentralized, so all of these financial transactions, you don't have to worry about being hacked, you don't have to worry about fraud, you don't have to worry about keeping track of how much fees, are they being fair, are they charging us fees that they shouldn't be charging. We hear in the news all the time about companies that are charging fees that was hidden in some fine print or somewhere. So that just wouldn't happen because it's all open, it's all transparent. Every loan is its own smart contract. So, and it's all generated automatically, so it's not anyone's mistakes or anything can come into the picture. I think we're building an ecosystem, so all the pieces have to come together, right? I mean, we know there's a lot of demand for it, and we know there's a lot of investors, lenders that are excited about the project, and there's so many people that want to partner with. But just to put all the pieces together, we're working all very hard and putting it together. So I think.
as Yash mentioned, it's very vital to have the right partners to really take our product to market and get us going within the geographic space. For Korea, we're very happy to say that we had very productive talks with a lot of different P2P lenders and also a lot of payment services and exchanges that would help us really go to markets in Korea, possibly even in our first phase of expansion. What's more important actually is a lot of those places where we want to expand initially. So we're talking about Indonesia, China, and India. Now these three places operate very differently than a lot of other countries, meaning that, let's say for Indonesia, there's not a bank on every street corner to get your loan from or to pay back your interest. Now how do you tackle that? For us, we have very unique ways of partnering with the local convenience stores where they can act as our payment services in terms of receiving interest payments, paying out the loan towards our borrowers, and just helping us make the transition as seamless as possible for each geographical region. Fintrux's idea is that we're starting off with the simplest loan. The simplest loan is a loan without any collateral, it's unsecured. What we're doing is using our credit enhancers, and the secrets we got from securitization, we're making that unsecured loans, which typically, if there's no collateral, it's very high interest rate. We're making it secure for the lenders, therefore less risk, and then less interest rate for the borrowers. Now, these credit enhancers are 4 cascading levels. The first level is a 10% holdback from the original loan, and in the case of any defaults or losses, that will cover the loan. Now, obviously, if the whole loan is lost, 10% won't cut it. So what happens next is a third-party guarantor steps in. Third-party guarantors can have a role in our marketplace for a risk and collateralization package. They can choose and pick which loans they want to guarantee, meaning that if those loans go bad, they have to be the ones to go in and pay the remainders. Now, in the very unlikely chance that even the guarantor defaults, then we move on to our third stage of collateralization, which is a cross-collateralization pool of all the 10% holdbacks from the same risk profile and currency. Now, what this means is that if one of the loans defaults, it can pull from the pool to cover that loss for the lender. Now, even if that runs out, which is super unlikely, we'll have the 5% Fintrux reserve of tokens that can cover the remainders. With these 4 levels of credit enhancements, we consider our loans very safe, and therefore our lenders will be very happy to provide lower interest rates for our borrowers.
This is, I guess, what our traditional business has been developing all these years. Over the last 20 years, they've perfected software development in a way that a lot of the code generation is automated. So the platform actually can build code without actually handwriting it in the old traditional way.
So the benefits of having a local development system, or in Fintrux's case, a no-code development system, is that you remove human error from the equation. Now, it makes an automated, seamless experience where there's very low maintenance of the code, there's very little bugs, if any at all, and it makes it for a very unique and automated, fast platform to handle all sorts of transactions and loans.
It's interesting, we've been talking to a lot of Korean people, and we've seen, the demand even here. And they've said that we have a big market for collateral and real estate, mortgage, and we have a big market for individual loans. But the small and medium businesses, there's a big need for that, and that's exactly what we're targeting. Our initial goal is to help all the small startup and small medium businesses. So there's a borrower, you know, I was an entrepreneur myself. I started a business and I had to raise capital, and it took us almost a year to raise the capital, and we had to go through so many different banking institutions and credit unions and private lenders, and eventually we had to go to our competitor to get a loan, right? And so we want to help the borrowers get that loan really fast and easily, and also we want to help the lenders. You know, I am an investor, I invest in lots of different things, but how do I make a good return? You know, maybe more than 10% return, more than 15% return, or whatever, you know, options do I have? So we want to give them more options. You know, you have control over what type of loans you can do and what kind of interest rates you want to earn. So I want to help both.
We are operating in the sweet spot of $3,000 to $300,000 loans. This is the sweet spot for any small businesses that hit cash flow issues, not just necessarily to raise money to build up their business. We're more trying to help the businesses that have already gone through the capital raising and already are building out their products. But along the lines, something happens. It's unexpected. Even if you have an MBA or a finance degree, there's no way you can account for unexpected events. They're called unexpected for a reason. And in that moment, if you don't have cash flow to cover, or a reserve to cover your cash flow issues, you're out of business, right? And a company that needs only $100,000 to cover that deficit shouldn't have to resort to selling equity or going to a private lender, you know, a loan shark. They really shouldn't have to go through all these hoops just to go over that short-term time when they need that one little loan, and they'll get over that hump and they'll continue building a fantastic business and achieve their dreams.
No, I think you know, we give the option to the client, and you know, it's up to them if they want to take that chance or if they want to use it in fiat. Right? So there's no safeguards that we have, but we allow them the flexibility to change their loan or keep it short term, keep it long term. You know, I mean, if you're going to do a crypto loan, try not to make it 1 year loan, right? If it's shorter loan, then it's better for them.
Yeah, so Fintrux's ultimate goal is to be the solution for small businesses everywhere. We want to make it possible for small businesses to get the loan they need, whenever they need it, and in any currency they choose.
Regardless of location.
Regardless of location, yes.